Scarlet L. Van Diemen has been promised in marriage to Prince Kyle, since before either of them was even born, all because of a long-standing agreement made between their two powerful families. However, this agreement is suddenly shattered during a lavish ballroom event when Kyle publicly announces that he is ending the engagement. He claims that he is sick of Scarlet and now wishes to be with his mistress, Taranza, leaving Scarlet frozen in shock at such an open betrayal. The nobles attending the ball start applauding Kyle and Taranza as he proudly declares that he will soon take her as his wife. Scarlet cannot understand how everyone can so easily support this scumbag who just discarded his fiancée in front of them all. Before long, though, she learns exactly why they are siding with him. Kyle begins praising Taranza, calling her a gentle and intelligent woman, while branding Scarlet as someone completely devoid of emotion. He states that acting like a loving fiancé to Scarlet for the past 17 years was the most humiliating period of his life, and that he is relieved to finally be free from her. Scarlet refuses to accept this quietly and reminds him that their engagement was decided by their parents, meaning he has no right to break it on his own. Kyle scoffs and says he does not need permission because Scarlet is supposedly a small-time criminal who has been tormenting Taranza out of jealousy. Taranza immediately plays the victim, trembling as Kyle starts accusing Scarlet of bullying her back at the academy. Scarlet calls complete nonsense on this claim since this is the first time she has ever met Taranza face-to-face, as they belong to entirely different classes. Unfortunately, Kyle was never very bright to begin with, and whatever intelligence he had, vanished the moment he fell for Taranza. He convinces himself that Scarlet is insulting his new fiancée by highlighting that she comes from the elite class while Taranza is from the regular one. Kyle insists that Taranza has told him everything, from being locked inside bathroom stalls to being shoved down staircases. He labels Scarlet a heartless villain, and that is where she finally reaches her limit. Scarlet calmly tells him that she no longer cares about the false accusations, and that she will accept the cancellation of their engagement as well. However, before cutting ties forever, she asks for one final request. Kyle refuses at first, unwilling to grant her anything at all. Taranza, confident that she has already won, urges him to listen so the pitiful woman will have no lingering regrets. Kyle praises Taranza's kindness and asks Scarlet what she wants. Scarlet slowly steps forward, clenching her fist tightly as she declares that her last wish is to punch him in the face. Kyle is stunned and asks if she has completely lost her sanity. Instead of replying, Scarlet swings her fist straight into Taranza's face with such perfect form that even Muhammad Ali would have approved. Of course, that single punch carries an extremely long backstory. Whether we like it or not, we have to sit through all of it to understand the payoff. Ever since Scarlet was a child, she had an unusual fondness for throwing punches. Almost every other week, she would beat some unlucky person senseless with her fists. Her older brother, Leonardo, constantly scolded her for these violent habits. Scarlet always insisted that she was doing it for the sake of justice. While Leonardo knew she had just protected a commoner from an arrogant noble brat, he could never forget the terrifying sight of her covered in blood. He warned her that she would soon formally enter noble society during an upcoming ceremony, and that she needed to stop hitting people and start acting like a proper lady. That warning turned out to be the greatest trial of Scarlet's life when she met the unbearable Kyle for the first time at that very ceremony. Kyle immediately declared that she would serve him from that day onward. Scarlet used every ounce of self-control she had to suppress the urge to punch him in the face, knowing that he was the second prince of the nation and, unfortunately, her future fiancé. That was only the start of Scarlet's misery, as Kyle kept tormenting her with constant bullying and childish pranks, all while her hands were tied because of their family ties. Even her father was powerless to intervene, since going against the royal family was not an option. Because of this, Scarlet endured his abuse for years in silence. When she finally turned 15, she entered the National Academy with outstanding grades and quickly became popular among the students. Sadly, Kyle enrolled there as well, and he openly announced that she would continue serving him like a slave even inside the academy. By this point, Scarlet had grown numb to his tantrums and harassment, so she maintained a calm, unreadable expression whenever he targeted her. A few days later, Kyle barged into her classroom in an awful mood and began verbally abusing her, ordering her to buy him lunch. Scarlet apologized and agreed to do it right away. However, the idiot was still unsatisfied and dragged her out to punish her, leaving his lackeys behind to watch the other girls so they would not report him to the teachers. Scarlet soon discovered the reason behind his rage. Kyle had been demoted to the regular class due to his terrible grades, and he wanted to vent his frustration by taking it out on her. He decided to cut her hair and bring it to his class as a trophy. Even with Scarlet's incredible patience, that crossed the line. She warned him to stop, saying she would complain to her family if he continued. Kyle responded by insulting her father, calling him nothing more than a loyal dog to the royal family. Scarlet was just about to send his pathetic self straight into the Shadow Realm when luck intervened. The first prince, Julius, happened to be nearby and immediately stepped in to stop the confrontation. Kyle could not defy his older brother and left after receiving a harsh lecture. Scarlet knew Kyle would return to harass her again, but she thanked Julius for stepping in. He replied that he was simply protecting his younger brother, then casually spoke with her for a bit. Scarlet began to respect him for his upright character. She was aware that Prince Julius was the strongest candidate to become the next king, yet corrupt nobles feared him and instead supported Kyle to protect their own interests. However, her admiration soon turned into jealousy when she learned that Julius had achieved perfect scores in every subject, ending her long streak as the top student. She thought he must be incredibly talented and hardworking. But when Julius casually told her how easy it was to score full marks, she became furious. Taking it personally, she trained and studied relentlessly to beat him next time. Rumors soon spread that Julius had intentionally lost so she would feel better. That only made Scarlet even angrier, and she decided to ignore him entirely. Unfortunately, Julius kept bothering her. He followed her after school, asking how things were going between her and Kyle. That was when Scarlet realized Kyle had stopped harassing her lately, despite the humiliation he suffered earlier. She understood that Julius was deliberately sticking close to her to keep Kyle away, and she almost started viewing him positively. That changed when Julius suddenly began flirting with her. Scarlet might have fallen for it if he had not referred to her as an interesting creature. She was stunned by that comment, only to learn that Julius genuinely found her fascinating in a scholarly sense, and had even been keeping notes about her behavior. That was the moment she began to hate Julius as well, wishing that someday she could punch him right alongside Kyle. Back in the present, all of that bottled-up rage finally finds release through Taranza's face. With a single punch, Scarlet sends her flying and knocks down two other men at the same time. Kyle panics and demands to know what she thinks she is doing. Scarlet coldly replies that his cruel words annoyed her, and Taranza simply paid the price for it. She then turns toward the stunned crowd of nobles, fully aware that every single one of them is corrupt to the core. Her anger burns because they cheered when Kyle canceled the engagement, so she puts on the punching gloves she always carries for emergencies. The nobles scream and call for the guards, but Scarlet instantly puts them to sleep with magic before beating the nobles down one by one. In their desperation, they beg for protection, even offering their slaves in exchange, despite slave trading being illegal in the kingdom. Scarlet realizes these men are worthless trash, and that her conscience will feel no burden knocking them all unconscious. She activates her unique time magic to boost her speed and launches into a rampage, her fists rated E for everyone. Before long, every noble is lying on the floor. Kyle is the only one left standing, having already wet himself after witnessing Scarlet's true nature. She tells him that it is finally his turn, and just as she is about to strike, her brother Leonardo rushes in to stop her. Unfortunately for Kyle, he is too late. Scarlet's punch sends Kyle crashing into the wall, leaving her feeling incredibly refreshed. The story will be continued in future videos. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.